Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And now for today's video, like you can see in the title already, you kind of already know what this video might be about. If you didn't know, on October 11th, it was National Coming Out Day. Yes, oh my gosh. But I'm a little late on that. I'm a little late on it. I didn't make a post on any of my social media because I kind of just wanted to make a YouTube video about it. I was actually gonna make this video on like a later date. I don't know when, but I know this video is gonna come about eventually, and this just seemed like the perfect time. Based on the title, you already know that I'm gay, and I am very proud of saying that. That's who I am. And you guys, anybody in my close circle of friends, that if you ask me to say those two words in like an online platform such as YouTube, maybe like 3 years ago, I would say, no, I'm not that person. That's not who I am. I actually came out about 2.5 years ago, and I kind of want to have the opportunity in this video to like tell you about my whole coming out story, because a lot of times when people, you know, tell their coming out story, it's always like this peaches and flowers and like, oh yeah, I was so worried about what other people would think of me, and I told my family and I told my friends and they were all supportive. But that's not every single story, and I think this is just something like National Coming Out Day, where people who hasn't come out yet, and maybe like the viewers watching me right now who hasn't come out yet, is okay, it is your journey, remember that. Or is probably scouring through the internet looking for videos of people who are out and proud, or is just now making that realization of who they actually are. And I know how that feeling is. When I was trying to come out and try and make sense of like what I was feeling, I was looking through the internet and I saw like YouTubers like Connor Franta, Shane Dawson, Joey Graceffa, and others who made YouTube videos such as this one explaining who they are and their whole coming out story, the whole situation. And I just want to do the same. And so I kind of just want to go back in time and like kind of explain my coming out journey. I remember when I was like a little kid, one of the shows I used to love watching was actually Blue's Clues. And I remember they switched the main character. It was like Steve, and then it went to Joe. And I remember I was like, ooh, Joe's like a little bit attractive as a young child. And I'm like, okay, but no, I'm gonna weigh that down. 7th grade, there was these two boys in my English class, and I remember this so vividly. And I had like a sort of attraction towards them. And I kind of just pushed it away. And like every single day I came to school, especially in that period, I was sitting next to them and I would talk to them, and like I never said anything to them about like me having like a little crush on them, and they still don't know to this day. And I don't really see them ever. So it's like perfectly fine that they don't know. Ever since 7th grade, I kind of made that realization and thought something was different about me than the rest of the boys around me. And I just kind of like pushed that off until my 12th grade year in high school. This story actually starts in summer, junior year of high school, and maybe like in the end of it, like the summer between my junior and senior year of high school, this is where this story begins. And there was this guy, and it was a very tough situation about my feelings that came about with this particular individual, being that he like dated my best friend back in 9th grade, and all of a sudden I had feelings for him starting in the summer. And this is because we started like hanging out more, I guess, but like not like a lot. It was just more of like we volunteered together at this place called Metropolitan Ministries, which is like a church that like brings people in that needs a helping hand and provide food and shelter for them. And we both volunteer there. I volunteered for them like there first with my two best friends, and I invited him to come. I don't know, like it just like something started brewing in my head, and I'm like, okay, I've had this before. I could just push it away. It's just some other weird anomaly, I guess. And I'm just gonna not even think about it anymore like I did in 7th grade and then other parts of my life that wasn't as big as these two events. And then time passed, and it just kind of grew. And no one really knows this except for like people who are close to me. But I remember when actually like 12th grade actually started, and I was in school, and I was actually in the guidance office in my high school. And all of a sudden, he came in and then was like doing something, and he left, but then like he like playfully like bumped his shoulder on my shoulder and he left. And the reason I'm saying this is because all of a sudden this like his cologne just hit my face, and like it was noticeable, and all of a sudden then I'm like I don't know, it was just like this weird click, and it's weird, it's like cologne, like what? And I already had feelings for him before, but like since that like playful tap, I don't know, something just hit my brain, and then I was like, oh, like, you know, cologne, scent, that's attractive. And it just, something brewed inside of me that I was like, oh, I may have something for this kid. And I, again, pushed that down and I pushed that down. And we were both in the band program, had him in other classes such as like calculus. We did have like regular concert band together, and we had a marching band after school. Like every single day I always see this kid, I always like thought of this kid. And at one point, I think it was like September or October of 2016, I was having a phone call with my best friend. This is where I came out to her, and this is the first time I've ever came out to somebody. And this is the best friend that dated this kid in 9th grade, and I was calling her and I was like, so something's happening and I don't know how to explain this, and I really don't know how to explain this to everyone, but I'm freaking out and I don't know what to do. And like after playing this like weird mind game with her, and like I was like, come on and guess like what it is, because I couldn't even mutter the words to her that I'm gay. And she eventually figured it out, and this freaking phone call was like 3 hours long. Like it was insane. And like shout out to her for like literally being in that phone call for me, and because oh my god it was so hard saying that to somebody. And she's like, wait, do you like a guy? And I was like, maybe possibly, and this might be a guy that you dated in high school, haha. And she knew who the guy was, and I asked her, because if there was an issue, if like anything arose between me and him, that I would never ever 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 let our best friendship like go away because of a guy. Like it just wasn't gonna happen. She was like, oh no, I don't care. Do you, if you like him, do whatever, like I want you to be happy. So the next person I told was actually him, because it was driving me absolutely crazy. Like I was becoming mental at the fact that I kept seeing him and I wasn't saying anything to him. And like the back of my mind, I was like, this guy is straight, like what are you doing? He's always been into girls. But another sense in my head was like, no, this guy is not straight, and this is why. And that summer when we were volunteering together, we would be in the car and he would be like, oh, so today's my gay day. And then he'll like touch my thighs and like touch my shoulder. And I wouldn't say anything because I'd be like, okay, I'm kind of into it, but like also, but like also what is going on? Like I don't understand what's happening right now. And I'm just, you know, like nothing ever happened, but it was like weird, you know, red flags of like, okay, there's no way this guy can be straight, right? It's like the main thing. It's like this, oh, it's my gay day, but like, okay, why can't every day be your gay day? Like, if you like guys, it's okay if you're bisexual, I don't know. Guess insecurity, haha. Anyways, to continue with the story, I eventually told him through text, because I couldn't tell him in person. There was no fucking way I could do that. I vaguely remember the message, but it was basically like, hey, like I know you're gonna say no, but this is how I feel about you. This has been driving me literally crazy, but I know it's just not gonna be a thing between us, but I just wanna let you know. And of course he was like, oh, I'm not into that, but you know, I'm here for you, whatever. Cool. So obviously, being that was the conversation we had, also like, the feelings didn't leave. I told him in that conversation, I said, do not tell anyone, because I'm insecure about this. It's so hard for me to face anyone right now. And he said, okay, I won't tell anybody. And then slowly but surely, I had like different thoughts in my head that like he told other people, as in like his best friends, but some close friends of his are the type of people to tell other people. And sure enough, we love foreshadowing. Let's jump to December. In December, I went to Disney's Candlelight Processional with the choir and the band program in my school. And what that is that we sing different religious songs in front of thousands of people in the middle of Disney's Epcot to celebrate, you know, Christmas and Jesus and all of that. So in this entire trip, I had these ideas that he told his best friends, he told his close friends, and I like I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I was like, there's no way, like, he didn't lie to me, like, but that's bullshit. That is bullshit, because I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, well, you know, I like this kid and I have this idea of who he is in my head. There's no way he could just, you know, be that kind of person to tell other people and like break my trust. So I'm at this kind of like processional, and he and I just like, you know, talk and whatnot here and there, and it was more of like, you know, friendly talk. Like, we were never really close before all this was occurring, but like I wanted to get closer. Obviously he's a crush of mine, so like of course I want to get closer. And in Disney's Candlelight Processional, his friends were like weird to me because they were away from me and him in some points, and like had us like alone in some points of the night. And I always like, why is this a thing? And you know, he'll like make some comment of like, oh, my shoes are untied, why don't you get down and tie them for me? Or I remember we were watching the fireworks and he'll put his head on my shoulder and just smile at me, and like later that night he would tell me like, oh yeah, I want to talk to you later in the bus. And I'm like, okay. And he just didn't talk to me. And I was just like, of course, upset, because I'm like, okay, I want to talk with you and figure out what the hell's going on between us and what is happening. But he was just playing a lot of games, and it really wasn't about that, and I just got more and more upset. But I'm also confused because I'm like, what am I? Am I bisexual? Am I gay? Like, I don't know who I am. His best friend, who was also a friend of mine, was wondering like, why is Josh upset? Like, are you okay? He was asking me, are you okay? But I just didn't want to talk about it. Now let's jump to January of 2017, and I was at this surprise party. So we're gonna name these people because I'm just to keep in track for you guys. So the person I like, let's call him Cantaloupe. Surprise party, let's call the two people that we're celebrating. Their names are Berry and Pineapple. Okay, I don't know why it's fruits, but let's go with it. So I'm at the surprise party, and it's, you know, it's going fine, but Cantaloupe is being weird. He's just like being distant towards me, but also like looking at me in differences during the night. And all of a sudden I just remember we were opening gifts, and all of a sudden in this house there was like the kitchen and like a living room, but then like there's another room, there's a dining room, and then a living room, another living room. And all of a sudden Cantaloupe was standing in the living room like this. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Why are you standing like a statue? Like, what? And all of a sudden, one of his friends, who, let's name him Turkey. Turkey is like, why don't you just let Cantaloupe be his own man? And I'm like, okay, what? So then I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, he definitely told his friends, like, of course. Like, that wouldn't make no sense if you just didn't tell your friends. So now let's fast forward again. Now, we are in between January and February in this timeline of events, but at this moment, so like the story is clear. Cantaloupe, I think Cantaloupe is lying to me about, you know, who we told, and like I'm still insecure and I like barely told anyone. I recently took the SAT for like the 4th or 5th time and didn't get the score I wanted. And in this moment of time, like my, you know, parents are going through some shit, and my dog died in the end of 2016. So there was just like a bunch of shit that was accumulating together, and like I had my first mental breakdown. And I remember when I was in Jasper, on the day that everyone came back to school, you know, received their SAT score, and everyone was like, oh my god, like I did so good, like I got the score I needed. And you know, other people were a little disappointed, but still got an award from Bright Futures, which is a scholarship program that like high school literally tells you that you need for college, which is not true because you can get by depending on your situation. But of course I didn't get it. I was actually 10 points away from getting it because I was a horrible SAT and ACT test taker. And I literally remember I was like in the middle of jazz band. I just started like crying because like there's like the feelings of like so much like anxiety and so much insecurity and so much like sadness and doubt was just in my mind, and like it was just consuming me. And also like that was the whole like senior year is the whole year of like, oh, what are you gonna do after high school? What are you like, are you going to college? Like where are you gonna go? All this shit. I remember after chorus practice, I was like doing musicals in senior year of high school, and you know, my friend Pineapple used to give me a ride home. And I told him, I was like, hey, I need to text you later. Like, I have something that's eating away at me. I just need to talk to you about it, but I can't do it in person. So he drove away, and I talked to him in text, and I was like, hey, how long have you knew that I like Cantaloupe? Like, let's be honest, I know you know. And he said ever since December. And given this is like late January, about to be February, and I'm like, holy shit. I have constantly asked Cantaloupe, hey, have you told anyone about me to you? Because I'm not ready for that. And he has told me no countless of times. And now I just know that he lied to me. After this, like, my best friend usually gave me rides to school. And he told me that, oh, like, you know, Cantaloupe and his friends called him the night before because they told me that they knew from other people at church. And I was like, what the fuck, I'm so mad. And they called my best friend who was giving me a ride and was saying, why the fuck did you tell Josh? Like, why did you tell him, like, we knew about him? Makes no fucking sense. Like, how dare you fucking tell him? That's none of your business and shit like that. I really don't remember like the specific details because obviously I wasn't in that phone call, but that was basically the gist of what was going on. And he was, and of course, like, that's my best friend, he's gonna tell me what the hell's going on. But it just doesn't make sense why Cantaloupe, he was playing all his games, but yet gets so mad that people were telling me that he lied to me and I was telling other people. So eventually I confronted Cantaloupe and I said, after a band practice one day during school, and I'm like, have you ever told anyone about me liking you at all? And he said no. And I said, you're wrong. Like, I know you have, and Pineapple literally told me that, like, I literally just outed Pineapple. Sorry, Pineapple, but I did. And because I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. And I was like, Pineapple told me that you told him and other people. Tell me the truth right now. And he's like, yeah, I told him the basic thing. And I'm like, the basic thing is that I like you. That's what you told him. You've been lying to me. And I literally was about to bawl my eyes up. I was trying to have that fucking high ass bitch moment. And I told him, every thought I've had of you, of liking you, has fucking disappeared. Just forget about it. And like, I turned around and I just started like sobbing. And you know, his friend just came out of nowhere. I was like, Josh, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I can't talk right now. And I just like went in the band room. Cantaloupe texts me and says, oh my God, like, you know I lied to you, but like I did tell them, you know, who you are and about you, and like, I'm sorry, but like, I just missed the old Josh and just want the old Josh back. But at this point, after going weeks of like trusting you, and yeah, like, I felt like you were this different person, you lied to me, and that trust is like gone at this point. Like, my heart is fucking broken at this point. You tell me I'm like a different person, but like, I've always been a different person ever since you knew me. But now I'm me. Now I do want to talk about Pineapple, because at this moment, he literally told me the truth at this point. And there was just a weird shift in my head, because I have finally found someone that is telling me this truth. And it's just something I've been searching for and no one has been giving it to me. So I guess in my head, like, I started having feelings for him too. And he eventually became aware of that, and we talked about it, but it's like really nothing serious. And on top of all this, I was working at a bowling alley at the time, and I remember there was this guy that was there. He was like literally so attractive, and he smelled literally so good. And you know, I like was trying to have like that bad bitch moment. I was wearing like a jacket and I was like slipping it off, and I was like, oh, like, I'm this hot bitch, like, oh, I know what I'm doing, even though I was literally working there for like 3 weeks. But of course, after like I kind of like, you know, had feelings for this kid, my job went to like shit and just didn't literally tell me when I was working next, and I just never worked there again. So I don't know what the hell that whole situation was about. Now it's just like a love triangle, because I'm thinking about this guy from work, like, but I'm probably not gonna see her again, so like I eventually got over that. And this guy is actually telling me the truth, and like I know he was not gonna like me back because he's straight, but he's also really religious, and it's just not gonna work out. And eventually Cantaloupe has a girlfriend. Long story short, they would make it known that they are together, like in front of me. They'll like ask for my name, like, oh my God, Josh, like, I'm over here, like in different instances. Like, for example, we went to Universal trip in my 12th grade year in band. And I remember towards the end of like the trip, they called me over like in front of a Starbucks and was like, come on, Josh, how are you? Let's call her Dragon Fruit. Dragon Fruit looks at me, and I'm holding a interactive wand from the Harry Potter world. Takes the wand from me and was like, oh, how much was this? This is so cool. I said $50. And she looks at her boyfriend, Cantaloupe, and was like, am I not worth $50 to you? And I was like, and I was like, oh, whoa. Here's my hot take with that. Don't treat your boyfriends like they're your wallet, just putting that out there. But at the same time, he was fucking with me and like broke my heart, so I don't care. That's not my situation. And I just fucking left at that point. I was like, bye, I'm uncomfortable. And he would like ask me in that trip, oh my God, hey, how are you? And then after he asked me that question, he would just like laugh at the question. During that trip, and like when I see him in class and during band, he would just like laugh at that question. I'm like, you don't really care about me, or, you know, you don't really care how I am. You just, you know, want to like make your presence known and make your relationship known. And don't get me wrong, like I remember after marching band practice, Cantaloupe was making out with his girlfriend, but like they literally walked over to me, my view of vision, and just made out in front of me. And to be honest, like I don't really call people out, but I just think that's so fucking pathetic. Like, okay, I liked you, big fucking move, but if you want to make out with your girlfriend, cool, do your own time. But like, if you want to make it known, that's pretty sad. But okay, go off, I guess. Prom happened in senior year, and I remember when I was doing my promposal, which is like outside the band room. It was, you know, it was cute and whatever. And Cantaloupe wanted to be in that space and like watch it all happen. But it was so awkward because he knew I liked him before, like because my feelings were going away. I will say, Dragon Fruit came into clutch, looked over and saw I was doing a promposal, and she was like, in your promposal, and fucking took Cantaloupe and went back in the band room. So that was a golden moment for her, and I'm like, okay, we shall stay. I was like, okay, whatever. Cool, thank you. You know, I did have a successful promposal. The girl that was there, by the way, like when I first came out, I came out as bisexual. So the girl that was there actually said yes, but couldn't actually go because she couldn't get her ticket in time. It was really weird by high school. There was just like a limited number of tickets. And so I went alone. I still had a good time, so I was with like mostly other single people. The first time I actually came out to people, I literally shared an Instagram post saying it's okay to be gay. Everyone was like, oh, I'm so proud of you. And including him, he's like, I'm proud of you. But yeah, after all that, he just tells me, he just like was a different man than I thought he was. And just like made jokes with me, didn't really care how I was. Like a thing with my family too, you know, of course they eventually found out that I was bisexual at the time, but now gay. And of course there were members of the family, which I would not say, who had trouble processing that. And of course we like bumped heads a lot during that time, but they eventually got over it, sort of. And we're still trying to figure the kinks out, but hopefully in the future where we will actually have like a strong relationship than we had before I even came out. But you know, time will tell, I guess. And I don't want to go too much in detail about my like family because that's like their own personal beliefs and their own personal lives, but it is what it is. The main focus is like what happened with me in my own journey. But yeah, eventually like I'm very open to who I am. Like I am who I am, like I am gay. And I could just say that like so fucking easily now. And I'm happy about that. I really am. I'm really happy about that. I know I came a long way from that little boy in 7th grade that liked those two guys in the English class to, you know, 12th grade, like getting his heart fucking broken and dealing with being a different person and slowly finding himself to now his 3rd year of college and like, you know, spreads the ideals of self-confidence and self-love and just being who you are is so important to me. I want to say like after high school, you know, Cantaloupe still like was in my mind as well, even though he just fucked with me so hard. And you know, sometimes you can't just control your emotions. Like it was weird, like I don't want to say this in the internet, but I am. Like I like dreamt about him and stuff like that. And it is what it is. It is fucking what it is. But I'm not going into detail because he just doesn't deserve that. But you know, I tried to like fix that relationship, even though like I wasn't much at fault. The only thing he could say about me was that like, oh, I did that stupid thing that like kids in high school and middle school would do. It's like, oh, like tweet about him, like haha, like, you know, this little attacks on Twitter, but it wasn't really much. And he used to get like really mad and annoyed about it, but whatever. I think it was like 2 or 3 times, but that's nothing in comparison to all the shit he did. So I tried to like fix that my first year like in college, but in spring break and like text him. But when I tried texting him about like how he was and eventually told him that I want to talk with him personally, of course he had his own thing in college and he just didn't remember what he did in our conversation. That's what he told me. And you know, if he wants to leave it in the past, sure. but I wanted to be open and just have a sit down conversation with him. And of course he did, like, he was in college, he was doing his own thing at the time. But you know, we do live like 5 minutes from each other. So it was so easy for us to like sit down somewhere and like talk and like probably like fix everything. But he just refused to do that, so that's fine. Like, it is what it is. So I just didn't feel the need to just keep going. I don't want to say I hate him. I don't like using the word hate. And I don't want to do that. I just want to understand why he did the things he did. That's the only thing I wanted to know. And like my first year, I just like, that was just so running in my head. I'm like, why did he do the things that he did? Like, why was he treating me that way when all I did was like him? But, you know, closure, the word closure was always in my head, and it was something that I felt like I needed. But at the end of the day, if I wasn't gonna get it, then why like go crazy to get the answers I'm looking for? Move forward, if I was ever to have a relationship with him, I wouldn't be the one to initiate that. I feel like, you know, I'm making this video, and if he ever sees this, you know, he could do what he wants. But I don't know if there would ever be a relationship between me and him. It is what it is. But on a much lighter note, I am happy, I am gay, and I'm very proud of that. And to you all like out there, in light of National Coming Out Day, which was like a couple days ago, if you are still struggling with being who you are, or trying to make sense of what, like, of who you want to be, then it's okay. It is your place, it is your story, it is not a race. Do what makes you most comfortable. And I hope, you know, telling this story, like, it can explain to like people that like not every coming out story is like peaches and cherries. You know, it's not like always easy, but like, of course, my story isn't the worst. You know, other things happen to, like, you know, people in the LGBTQ community, like whether you're lesbian, like transgender, and I could go on and on about transphobia, how it's awful, and what transgender people go through, and bisexuals and gays and all the rest, pansexuals, asexuals, all of them. Yeah, we go through a lot of shit, and it's just where we live in. I hope you guys are struggling to like figure out who you are. Just, you know, see this video and just know that at this moment you may feel like the world is on top of you and you just don't know where to get that gasp of air, but that's okay, and it does get better. And I know it's so cheesy, but it will. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and turn on that bell notifications down below. Understand that I am okay and I am gay, and I'm very proud of that. And whatever you choose to be in the future, you should be very proud of that as well. And just know you've came such a long way, no matter your situation. You made that realization, and I had the courage to tell other people and be yourself, and finally be yourself. And that's just an amazing thing to achieve and be proud of. But yeah, if you want to keep following me on my journey, you can follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter. It's just _ Joshua Barreto. That is JOSHUA BARATO. No caps and no spaces. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time whenever I decide to post. Alright guys, bye.
Life will always be tough, so who the fuck are you now? Will you make it alone, or do you need someone else?